In April of 2008, at age 11, I pitched my one and only no-hitter, mainly because I typically caught and was just filling in. The crowd was loud because our team was the top-picked team to win the tournament this year, so this was a great start for us. My parents, my number one fans, were particularly loud. They always were. All throughout my life, I don't think my mom missed any games. Unfortunately, my dad missed a lot because of his work schedule. I remember this day and him being there so crystal clear because he had been throwing up during it, but still stayed because he knows how much I loved him at games. I especially noticed his absence when I would go up to hit because this man literally always stood around so he could holler out corrections to my hitting. After the game, my family went home and my dad continued to work underneath the house like he had been in between games, even though he had been throwing up all day. I had a date that night, as much of a date that an 11-year-old can have. I showered and got ready while my mom got ready to go out to the lake house and hang out with family and friends. Once my dad had taken a shower, he decided to just stay home since he had not been feeling well and because he just wanted to sleep it off and relax. 2 hours into my movie, my mother had called me. I didn't answer because cell phones were not allowed in the movies and I wasn't to my rebel stage of life yet. As soon as I came out of the theater, my mom explained we needed to rush home, that she was taking my father to the ER in Vincennes at Good Samaritan Hospital, much to my father's dismay. My dad swore up and down all he needed to do was sleep and he would feel better in the morning. Next, all I remember was being shaken awake by my Uncle John, who lived in Olney, Illinois, so I knew instantly if he was here something had to be wrong. But my mind never considered the severity of what could happen, especially to a 41-year-old man. I hurriedly got dressed and met my sister Jonna in the kitchen, and then we were off. I don't remember the car ride there. All I remember was the horrible feeling I had. The feeling of being lost and confused and slightly uncertain. Arriving at the hospital was a blur. All I could even see then were the elevator doors opening and so many relatives swarming around me, crying and grabbing me in an embrace. All I saw next was my mom's sobbing face ushering me to her for a hug while she combed my always unruly hair, telling me it was going to be okay. What was going to be okay, I remember thinking. The words Widowmaker were said over and over again. But it didn't make sense since my father was still alive. At age 11, I did not understand how serious this was, how serious it is. I never asked any of my questions. I didn't want to be a burden and have them thinking I was dumb. Even now, almost 10 years later, I will never be able to put into words the overwhelming happiness I felt when I saw my dad in his ICU recovery room. My father, so strong and so brave, survived this. The Widowmaker I now know is known as a massive heart attack. Our hearts have one main artery on the right side and two on the left side. The right is known as the right coronary, and on the left, which is the main side, is known as the left anterior descending that runs down the front of the heart and supplies the front and main wall. And then there is the left circumflex. When the main artery down the front of the heart is 100% blocked like my father's was, right at the beginning of the vessel, that is what is known as a Widowmaker. If this artery is blocked, the whole heart goes down. My father is a real-life superhero. He worked underneath our house all day in between coming to my games, all the while experiencing small heart attacks. That's what his puking was, his body telling him, go to the doctor. Thank God for my mom for making him go. The cardiologist's voice still rings in my ears. Miss York, you are a lucky woman. Not many people survive this. If you would have let him go to sleep, you would have woken up to make funeral arrangements. At age 11, you don't understand the more complicated aspects of life. At 11, I was such a spoiled brat. I didn't appreciate my parents, and I went out of my way to push their buttons. This awful day was such a rude awakening. I almost lost my dad, my number one fan, my best friend. I don't even want to imagine how life would have been without him. 100% blockage always flashes in my mind whenever my dad pisses me off, and now his upper part of his heart, that was damaged, only beats at 32%, which freaks me out to no end. However, instead of cowering from it, I live for my dad and for us. We have so many more memories because he is a fighter. My one hope is to make my dad happy because I know so many unfortunate others didn't get as lucky as me. Because of this, I appreciate him and my mom more. I know what it is like watching the balance of a life dangle from the grim reaper sky. It has almost been 10 years since my dad survived his heart attack. 10 years of holidays, graduations, Cardinal games, softball games, and duetting to our classic hard rock music. I may look like my mom, but I definitely favor my dad in personality and taste. My dad is a survivor. We are survivors.
For tomorrow.